Subscribe for more Reddit stories. Expose wife's affair with her boss. My wife and I are going through the divorce process, living separately for the last 3 months. 2 kids together, 20 years. She dropped the D-bomb on me a year ago. I felt blindsided. She's been pretty vicious, like she's lost her mind having a midlife crisis. Anyhow, I just recently discovered she's been having sex with her boss and a lot of dots connected from the past. I was prepared for her to be with other people, but this one stings. She's known this guy for years. He got her a bartending job at a very high-end place where he's the head manager. We've all hung out, plenty of handshakes. He's met my kids, lives down the street from us. He's this not very attractive, kind of quiet, awkward, overly friendly guy. Years ago, I told her, "You know he's trying to bang you, right?" She laughed it off. "Oh my God, he's just a friend. You're being insecure." I wrote it off. I never felt threatened. I thought he had a strong marriage and let it go. She would tell me he'll hire young girls and hook up with them, that he was kind of a player. Well, flash forward, now he's banging my soon-to-be ex-wife. Looking back, pre-D-bomb, she started going out to bars with him and other co-workers. They spend tons of time together at work. They started riding bikes together. He'd bring her food all the time. I thought it was inappropriate, and I would occasionally bring it up. Same response from her. "We're just friends." In my opinion, he's a predator that uses his position of power within the workplace to hook up with girls, who he hired. He's been working on my wife for years and finally accomplished his goal. What I'm uncertain of is this just a recent rebound? I'd care much less. Or has this been going on for over a year and the reason behind her suddenly wanting a divorce? Regardless, I think I'd like to expose him. Bad idea? I considered writing reviews about his predator setup on Yelp or Google Reviews for the restaurant they work at. Any other suggestions? Thanks. Weird emotional affair that ended my marriage. Hi, I've wanted to share this for a while. Interested in people's thoughts on this. It's a weird as hell situation, and it's been a very, very painful year and a half for me and my family. About 10 years ago, my wife of 18 years casually told me that a coworker was having a vasectomy and asked me what I thought about that. I said I was surprised a coworker would be talking about such a personal thing at work. And then she told me that they had become quite close friends. And then she smiled, a warm smile at thinking about him. I instantly knew something was not right. So that night, I waited until she was asleep and checked her messages on her computer. It turns out she had been texting this guy for the last 3 months. They went to a dinner at a mutual friend's, which my wife had told me she would be at, but had said that it was just her and her female friend. She omitted to tell me about the coworker. Fast forward 2 weeks, I have to travel out of town to see my family, taking my son with me. Turns out she had arranged lunch with this guy, but he bailed at the last minute, which is innocuous in itself, but she was so utterly distraught at this cancellation and arranged to meet him on the waterfront where his son had rock climbing lessons instead. In short, she was desperate to see him. That afternoon, she had friends over and they talked about me and him. She said they were just friends, and with him and other female friend, she could get all her needs met. Well, almost all her needs. She did note that doesn't leave much for my husband, though. She talked and compared me to him, talking about how he was such a great talker and I'm not much of a talker. At one point, she talks about how hard it is him canceling on her, saying, "It's not like having a husband on tap." So I watch and wait for a while. I managed to get access to her emails and watch their ongoing flirting. I go up to her work and see the two of them hanging out in the park, laughing and laughing. Turns out they have lunch together every day. She leaves work early on Thursday at 3 p.m. and they go to a bar for 3 hours, and then she walks him almost all the way home before she turns around and walks back into the town for her Pilates lesson. Perfect cover. About once a month, they take a long 3 or so hour lunch break together. I confront her and break down. She denies everything, tells me lie after lie. We eventually get into marriage counseling where the counselor tells me I need to give her space, and she needs to give me reassurance. Well, for 6 months, I give her space, but I get no reassurance in return. In fact, she uses the space to get to spend more and more time with him. Eventually, the counselor tells her she needs to park her friendship with this guy as it has caused a lot of damage to your marriage. She is very quiet for a few days and then asks that we stop seeing the marriage counselor. She pleads for time until she gets a new therapist. In the meantime, she stopped seeing her therapist after she told her everything. I don't know what everything entails, probably a number of things I'm not aware of. And the therapist said that it sounded like she was the bad guy. She hires a second therapist and tells the new therapist about me raging, being angry, controlling her movements, etc., but nothing about the affair partner. So to the new therapist, I seem like a controlling maniac and emotional abuser. The therapist gives an off-the-cuff diagnosis of me as a classic narcissist, and that gives my wife the justification she needs to separate and seems like the good person to her friends and family. The crazy thing is, it's clear this guy doesn't feel the same way, and she seems to have destroyed our entire marriage for what amounts to a schoolgirl crush. It's possible he is only partially aware of the depth of her feelings for him. My head spins. Now, it seems she is still gaga for him, but is now dating guys on Tinder because she's lonely and he has, a family and wife. It's all weird as hell, but makes a kind of a twisted sense, I guess.